Good morning. Well, at long last, we have arrived at the novel, Dark Man. Truly, one of three novels that I've written that are literally off the wall. Executrix was one. There is one to follow, which I can't remember the name of at the moment, of course. And there is this, Dark Man. It truly is dark. But it's interesting because it was so dark that the program that I used, the AI program, decided it was too dark. And the AI collapsed on the halfway through it. And it decided to give me back a big question mark. And I think it simply couldn't handle the narrative, which was interesting. So it wouldn't do it. I think it thought it offended its little brain. So it acted like a little nanny, and it wouldn't handle it. So you're going to get something different today. You're going to get something shorter and more visual. So you're going to get an actual story. So it handled that, but it didn't give any of the grittiness and the darkness, which is what is contained in the actual novel. However, I'm going to do the usual thing now and read from the story. So, this story centres on Father Forrest, a complex Catholic priest in North London struggling to reconcile his spiritual duties with a series of private depravities. The text portrays his internal conflict as he manages a dilapidated presbytery, cares for his demented mother, and harbours a secret obsession with poisonous plants and macabre photography. His life is further complicated by the arrival of Linda, a seductive but manipulative assistant with ties to the criminal underworld. Following a suspicious death of his mother in a bathtub, Forrest faces potential blackmail and a spiritual crisis. The story concludes with his physical decline as he eventually becomes a frail patient under the care of nuns. Ultimately, the story explores themes of sin, hypocrisy, and the decay of a man haunted by his own dark nature. Now, I mentioned macabre photography, and you might be thinking, Catholic priest, macabre photography, and you might be thinking the obvious. And I'm going to say, no, not the obvious at all. It's far worse than that. Dark Man. Going to press the button now. Watch the video.
In the novel Dark Man, we meet Father Forrest Pickhill. On the surface, he seems like a pillar of his community, a real man of God. But beneath that pious exterior, there's this disturbing collection of secrets. So today, we're going to peel back those layers and find out who the real man is underneath. So the whole story kicks off in the grimy, chaotic heart of 1935 London, and this quote just sets the scene perfectly. Think about it. A cathedral consecrated to steam. That imagery is so powerful, right? It creates this oppressive, industrial feeling, like a world where even sacred things are kind of corrupted by the modern age. It's the perfect backdrop for a character like Father Forrest Pickhill to walk into. So, the big question is, who is this guy? Publicly, he's a devoted priest, late 40s, a shepherd to his flock, all that. But as you can probably guess, that's just the surface. We're about to dive into a much, much darker story. All right, to really get a handle on this man, we have to start with the mask he wears. Let's look at this pious facade he shows everyone and, well, the first few little clues that something is deeply, deeply wrong. This is the image he's so carefully built up. He plays the part of the humble servant of Christ, To his community, he's not just a priest. He's this trusted guide, a figure of comfort and wisdom. He has absolutely mastered the role of being a pillar of the parish. But here's where we get the first major red flag. While he's all about projecting holiness, his own home is just falling apart. We're talking flaking bricks, damp, rats. The whole place is rotting from the inside out. And what's really telling? The only part of the property he actually maintains is the fences. It's such a powerful symbol, isn't it? He's totally focused on keeping the world out and his secrets in. So behind those well-kept fences, past the rotting house, Father Pickhill gets up to some, let's just say, peculiar pastimes. And these aren't just hobbies, okay? They're our first real glimpse into the darkness he's hiding. His hobbies are, well, they're definitely not what you'd expect from a priest. First, he likes to shoot rats and rabbits in his garden. Okay. Then he's got this strange garden he's cultivating down in his cellar. And finally, he's got a collection that is anything but holy. You can see how each one gets a little more unsettling than the last. And this isn't just, gardening. This is straight up toxology. In a small greenhouse, he's growing some of England's deadliest plants. Deadly nightshade, foxglove, stuff you do not mess with. But he doesn't just grow them. Oh no. He harvests them, grinds them into these fine powders, and stores them in a locked strongbox. This is calculated, it's deliberate, and it is deeply sinister. And then, deep in the damp, foul-smelling cellar, he's created this bizarre, almost alien landscape. A miniature city of mushrooms growing in the dark. It's another secret little world that he cultivates in total isolation, far, far away from the light of God. Okay, so his hobbies are disturbing, for sure, but believe it or not, they're just the beginning. The presbytery itself holds secrets that are way deeper, way more personal, secrets that hint at a profound corruption of his very soul. And right here, you can see the two sides of the man laid bare. The public priest, he tends to his flock. The private man, he tends to his poisons. The supposed servant of God is actually a keeper of dark secrets. He lives in what looks like poverty, but he has a specially built, locked room that nobody else can get into. Every single part of his public life has this dark, private mirror image. And this is the ultimate mystery. Down in that cellar, past the hanging rabbits and the weird mushroom city, there's a locked door. A door he had built himself. And he's the only one with the key, which he wears around his neck at all times. So it just leaves you wondering, what on earth could be in that room that's even worse than a collection of deadly poisons? To even begin to understand what's behind that door, we have to go back. We have to understand where Father Pickhill came from. Because this darkness, it wasn't born in the priesthood. It was forged in his childhood, in a house literally surrounded by the dead. His life was shaped by death right from the very beginning. He grew up in the family funeral home. As a teenager, his fascination with death just curdled into something monstrous. He forced his younger sister Jane to play this twisted game. Then, his adult life was just a series of failures, a bitter marriage, a collapsed business, until, at age 37, he finds a new path in the priesthood, or maybe just a new cover for his obsessions. And here's the horrifying truth about that game. It wasn't just childish play. It was the start of a deep-seated necrophilic obsession. His sister remembers that his only interest was in touching her imagined cold, dead flesh. That one detail just reframes his entire character, doesn't it? And it points directly to the true nature of the secrets in his locked room. So after years and years of living this strange double life, a crisis point finally arrives. After his mother dies, Father Pickhill goes through this sudden, dramatic, almost violent transformation. He claims he's had a spiritual awakening. He actually declares this to his secretary, and he's totally convinced, he's fervent, passionate even, that he's received a message from God. He believes he has to purge himself of all his sins, that he's been reborn. But his idea of a confession, well, it isn't about words, it's about fire. His transformation is really just a systematic eradication of his secret life. The poisons, burned. The Mushroom City, destroyed. He gives away his rifle and, this is crucial, his camera. And then, finally, the contents of that locked room, photographs and detailed sketches, are all incinerated in a bonfire. He is erasing every single trace of the man he was, one sinful hobby at a time. And this is what it all comes down to. This is the final lingering question. Is this a genuine moment of redemption? Is this a man truly cleansing his soul? Or is it just the calculated act of a cunning predator, meticulously destroying the evidence before he's exposed? The novel, of course, leaves that for us to decide.